right, it is 1 o'clock. I see there is one attendee that is participating on Zoom. The YouTube stream is starting up right now. It'll be just a couple seconds here. All right, the meeting is live on YouTube. You can go ahead and read.
Are we all set?
Yes.
Okay. Have we got other supervisors on here?
Yes.
Everybody's here.
Doesn't show up on my stuff. Okay, I guess I can look at that. Okay, so today is April 6th. We'll call a special session of the Delmarva County Board of Supervisors to order. And this time we're going to take a moment of reflection. And now Supervisor Berkowitz, if you will lead us all in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Sure, please stand and join me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic
For which stands
One
one nation under God,
God.
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, now we're going to take up our one and only item for, well, let's see, I'll take public comment first. Is there any public?
Jerry, we had 2 written public comments.
Okay, would you go ahead and read those? Please,
The first one is from a Bill Warner. It said, "It is totally wrong to ban people who have property on the water with a dock in their backyard to be able to go out fishing by themselves. Out on the lake, you are social distancing in the best possible way, and you could catch food instead of taking a chance around people in a store to buy it." And then I have another one from Robert Dorigo. It says, "As of this moment, milk producers around the country are dumping milk because some organizations are having a hard time moving their products. I do not know the shape of our local producers. Within a month or 2 of our food sector running out of masks and gloves, we would expect our grocery stores to be bare. Low-wage workers and volunteers at food banks are beginning to reduce their exposure to the new disease. From what I understand, dairy products would be the first thing to go. If this becomes a problem, a local food source will be paramount. I was hoping that the board would work with our local food producers to better understand their hurdles and ensure a viable local source should national supply chains be disrupted. We have several points of contact where we continue to amass daily in our town. Walmart, from my experience, is not utilizing their curbside pickup program. Our local Safeway, from my understanding, has not adapted to the pandemic to allow for curbside pickup. Grocery Outlet is offering shop-in only. These locations are taking action that actually condenses more people into smaller places for longer periods of time. Evolution is not the survival of the strongest, but the survival of the most adaptable. These organizations need to be under some form of supervision to ensure they are adhering to CDC guidelines. The longer we allow them to manage their business as if nothing is happening, the faster they will lose willing staff that realize they and the people they serve are being put at unnecessary risk. This management could be each store forming an in-store team that works to ensure that CDC and common sense advice is being acted upon to protect our community." And those are the 2 comments.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? And I think, can you still raise your hand? Is that what the deal is?
Yes, if there's anyone joining the meeting that would like to make public comment, you can click the raise hand button. We'll see an indication on our screen and we'll allow you to provide public comment.
Okay, and do you see any of those things?
We do not.
Anybody? Okay, so we are going to move on to our agendized item, which is establishing emergency purchasing agent authority for securing hotel rooms. Jay, are you going to speak to that, or is Heather on the call? I see.
I can present it, or Ms. Snow can present it.
Okay. Whichever of you would like to do it.
It delegates authority to you. I think it's fine, and I can add if needed.
Okay. So as we go through the local emergency, it became apparent that there was going to be some needs. And in the case of this, it would be for contracting with local hotels for rooms to provide shelter for two different populations. One would be for quarantine and isolation, the other for social distancing. The limitations on the purchasing agent, which is the county administrative officer, for professional service agreements is $50,000. For just this emergency only, the resolution before you would allow that I have the ability to sign a contract between $50,000 and $100,000 for any type of use of these hotel rooms as they become available.
Okay. At this time, I'll take any public comment. Is there any public comment?
I'm not seeing any so far.
Okay. I would entertain a motion.
Can I ask a question, please, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
There are two populations here, as was mentioned, a quarantine population and a non-quarantine population. Are we talking about separate facilities or co-mixing? Are we talking about two different motions to incorporate these two populations, or how does this lay out?
Well, the actual motion today is under the recommendation, which deals with the emergency purchasing agent authority. As far as questions regarding the two populations, I would defer to Dr. Raywald.
So, yeah, in general, there's two categories that we're looking at. People who are either infected and need to isolate, or infected and recovering, or people who need to isolate so they don't become infected. So they need to quarantine themselves. And the best example of the second one would be healthcare workers. So say someone is working at the hospital, someone at their home becomes ill. They don't want to risk going home and becoming sick and then not being able to work. So they need a temporary housing while the family member recovers from the illness. The first example, there are several different things. There could be people who need to isolate because they are sick, but not sick enough to be in the hospital, but they have high-risk people at home. So we don't want to send sick people home if we know that there's somebody in the home who's likely to end up in the hospital, especially in severe condition. We want to kind of abort that process whenever we can. Another example would be someone who has been in the hospital, needs a place to convalesce while they continue to recover. They don't need to be in the hospital anymore, but someone at home is ill. Say they're an elderly couple and one of the spouses gets admitted to the hospital, spends a few days there, is ready to go home, but their spouse is uninfected at home. We don't want to send them home right away into that environment and have them basically exchange beds by sending that spouse right back to the hospital again. So we're trying to create social distancing as people recover, or if they become ill, or if someone in the household is ill and they're a critical worker. So those are the broad categories. There's a couple other kind of nuanced categories within that scheme, but that's really what we're trying to accomplish. There is one kind of a carryover of the convalescence that we hope we're able to assist the hospital by providing some oxygen support for some of their patients as they exit, so they could actually continue on oxygen in the hotel room environment. If everything goes as planned, we should have that capacity. But for right now, we just want to get the authority to contract with the hotels to provide this space so we can make these efforts to keep the distancing intact in the home for people who are either exposed or recovering, or someone at the house is sick.
Thank you, Dr. Raywald. I will make that motion to establish emergency purchasing agent authority for the purpose of securing hotel rooms for people impacted by COVID-19 emergency, as requested by the Director of Health and Human Services.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from board members? Kylie, would you please poll the vote?
Supervisor Berkowitz,
Yes.
Supervisor Cowan,
Yes.
Supervisor Howard,
Yes.
Supervisor Gitlin,
Yes.
Chair Hemmingson.
Yes. Thank you. So at this time, we are going to go into closed session. And I would ask for any public comment on closed session items only.
I'm not seeing any hands being raised.
Okay, thank you. Then we will all convene in closed session. Thank you very much.